I'm a poet, and I've been living in Miami for about a decade now. The two poems I've chosen to read for you today explore this sort of tension that exists and comes from living in a place like Miami that's so lush and full of natural beauty and generous and basically a veritable tropical paradise against the backdrop of the impending threat of climate change, climate disaster, and how those sort of like hopes and horrors collide, coexist, and play out in our day-to-day. The first poem is How to Greet the Spring. The sun was out. The flood came anyway. The sea rose to take the city plinth by plinth. Amaranth bled red into twitching schools of silver buttonwoods. To think what you could have given up. Here, even the gulls are starving. The fishermen are fighting. All the waters of the world are troubled and suspect. The little river, the little God in you who lets you go on each day is out of its depth. Out of darkness, you reel in dented cans. They empty through rusted stars as the world warms and the rooftops clamor for higher and higher ground. The next poem is titled Resiliency Committee, and I think probably a lot of you here actually already know that that's an actual civil faction in the city of Miami charged with mitigating climate disaster and climate change. And I wrote this poem at a time when there were wildfires raging on the West Coast, and you'll hear that reference in the first line. Resiliency Committee. The people in the fire are sending smoke signals to those awaiting the flood. Historically, some of the stupidest ideas have been ushered forth by great enthusiasm. Levees, pumps strained by the moon's glow or springtime rain. Meanwhile, we forget our vigilance. We forget the threat of mosquitoes whose pestilence predates us and will probably go on ringing in the blood of the next biped beast. We are making plans in spite of ourselves. We are naming street signs, naming our children. And when the flood comes, might we find it more peaceful than we'd anticipated, rising as if to greet us. Thanks.